Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Friday, February 11th, and we are back with another episode of the Muffed Punt Podcast. Me, Matt, Matthew. How we doing, guys? Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Pretty pumped for this episode. Group of 5 talk.
Yeah, this is going to be a heavy Matt episode, I think. So if you're into the G5 players and like some of those things, definitely pay attention. He definitely knows more than me and Matthew do about the G5. But Matthew, how you doing, man? Said you had a busy day.
Yeah, I'm doing good. You pointed out that my voice was getting a little hoarse, so maybe it's good. I'm not going to be doing much talking this episode.
I think you'll be doing a lot of talking. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. We have a couple things to go over first, but we will get into our top 5 players this week for every G5 conference. That means the American Conference USA, the MAC, Sun Belt, Mountain West. And I don't know about independents, Matt. You might have those. And then we'll do overall our top 15 players from the ACC and Pac-12. At least one of those done today. Who's got their TV on? Got to turn it down.
It's not
Nothing?
me.
All right, whatever.
I think we have a cleaning lady here. It might be in the background. I can mute while I'm not talking.
Oh, that's fine. No worries. I just keep hearing things. If you guys don't hear it, then I can fight through it. But we do have a lot to discuss, so let's get into it with our trivia questions. I assume you guys didn't get the answers, correct? No answers on the outline? Okay, good.
Nope.
All right, so I got 2 questions today, and I'll revolve around the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that at the end a little bit. Obviously, Joe Burrow, 2 former number 1 picks, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has the chance to become the first quarterback to win the Triple Crown, Heisman, Natty, and Super Bowl, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. So here we go. First trivia question. 4 quarterbacks from Ohio have won Super Bowls. Can you name 2 of them? One should be relatively easy, and the other 3 are probably going to be pretty hard, so I don't blame you for not knowing them. And one I actually just learned today.
I'm drawing blanks right now.
I'll give you a hint on the first guy. He just retired.
Big Ben.
There you go. He was born in Southern Ohio. Yes, he has won. He won 2 Super Bowls. 2 Super Bowls. He went to Miami of Ohio, which is like the middle of Ohio. Any other guesses, guys? No. So it's before my time, and actually one of them's not, but that's the one I learned today. So the other two other ones, Roger Staubach, obviously the famous quarterback. He won 2. Len Dawson won 1. He's from Ohio. And did you guys know that Russell Wilson was born in Cincinnati?
I did not.
I had no idea. Until this morning, I looked at it because I was like, "There's 4 quarterbacks. Like, I can't think of the 4th." And I saw Russell Wilson, so I was that's very. I did not know that. So maybe Russell Wilson's going to come to the Browns. I don't know. All right, and then the second one, this should be a little easier as well. This is, or you guys should all get the first one at least. Which college boasts the most Super Bowl trophies through their quarterbacks?
The quarterbacks.
I mean, number 1, it's kind of a trick question, but it's pretty easy.
Michigan.
There you go. Michigan. Michigan has 7.
I had to bank on Brady.
Yeah, 7, and that's more than any other school, or Brady's 7. But also some interesting schools. Notre Dame has 5 Super Bowls between Montana and Joe Theismann. Alabama has 4 between Joe Namath, Bart Starr, and Ked Stabler. Purdue has 4, Drew Brees, Brian Greasy, and Len Dawson, like I just talked about. And Stanford has John Elway and Jim Plunkett. The other one, which you'll never get, has 4 Super Bowl titles. Louisiana Tech. 4 Super Bowl titles to their quarterback. Who was the one quarterback? It was only one guy.
I have no idea.
1 quarterback, 4 Super Bowls. From LA Tech?
Yeah. He's got a show on E! Terry Bradshaw. Terry Bradshaw went to Louisiana Tech and has 4 Super Bowl titles. Because I typed it in on Google and it like came up Louisiana Tech. I was like, who in God's name went to Louisiana Tech? But yes,
that's crazy.
The famous Terry Bradshaw went to Louisiana Tech. So that's our that's our trivia for today. And with that, let's get into around the college football landscape a bit. First up, Lane Kiffin's brother, Chris, who was the defensive line coach on the Browns this past season. Earlier this offseason, he went to Ole Miss and was going to take the job as the co-defensive coordinator there at Ole Miss, but he reversed his course and he's not coming back to the Browns. I don't think it's anything really to look into. I just think that he has 4 kids and a wife, and he said it's more conducive to having a family with an NFL job. So, and that kind of makes sense. So.
I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit, because when we talked about this probably like a month and a half ago when he came on, I think you were the one who said, I think he's just hiring him just to get the thrill of firing him to get that power trip, and that's all this is. And here we are.
So that's not the only actually, really, let's be honest, the only real stories in the world right now are going on in college football world right now is in the SEC. But before we get to the main one, so in 2020, 2021, so not this past year, but the year before, the SEC revenue brought in $777.8 million, which equals a nice payout to each school of $55 million. And I kind of put this at the bottom there, and you guys can give me your thoughts. I think this is going to end up having a bigger impact. The TV deals and everything like that is going to have a bigger impact than the NIL, like bad-wise kind of thing, just because I think 5 years down the line, you're going to be looking at the Big Ten and the SEC, and you're just going to be like, those are really the only 2 conferences. Like, you have to. So I think it's going to eventually, and I think we talked about it, I think they'll eventually move it to like 2 or 3 power conferences, which I think makes it better. But I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, after looking at the top players in each conference doing this exercise for this episode and next episode, I mean, I realized quick how lopsided it really is between like the SEC and the Big Ten and then the rest. Like, it's brutally lopsided.
It is.
So I definitely agree.
Matthew, anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to echo that sentiment. When I was going through, it was just ridiculous. Beyond that, though, if we are going to be talking about those super conferences, I guess we can call them, I think the transfer portal is going to bring us there first. I mean, the way that Lincoln Riley was able to pick up and take the Oklahoma football program with him to USC.
Did you see what he said?
No, what did he say?
He was one of the talk shows this week. He was like, well, we didn't steal the players from Oklahoma. We got them through the transfer portal. So he's just capitalizing that. I like where that's going, too, with what you're saying there, Matthew, because, I mean, we are getting our first taste of the transfer portal this offseason, and it is insane. Because I can relate it to this exercise because, like I said, I eventually got to the point where I was looking at stat leaders at the smaller G5 conferences, and the amount of guys that were underclassmen at these smaller conferences that are now entering the transfer portal. Like, if you have a decent season, you're just gone. Like, you're not going to stay in the G5. So I kind of agree with that, but I also think the overarching thing is going to be the money that is going to be able to be made if they do like a series super conferences. But I agree on part of that aspect in the transfer portal. So yeah. All right. The S&P Plus projections for next year. I put them on here. We could talk about them for a sec. Ohio State came in 1 with a projected S&P of 30.8. Georgia came in 2nd with a projected S&P of 28.7. Alabama then comes in 3rd at 27.4. I don't really know why Alabama is not on top of Georgia there. I don't really understand the SP Plus ranking that much. But all I know is that the main thing I've taken away from this is we could be looking at next season as like it is literally just a 3-team race, because if you look at the drop off from Alabama, who's 3rd, to then Michigan, who's 4th, who I think should be lower anyways. Alabama, like I said, projected SP Plus 27.4. Michigan, number 4, 21.5. So it's clear that this season the 3 powers are coming back, and they're coming back strong. And I think I put it on here, but do either of you guys feel comfortable right now placing a futures on someone to win the national championship outside of Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State.
Not even a little bit.
I agree. It's
not in the next 3 to 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we really are going to see that lopsided thing. Like, I think USC might start to climb that as well, because now that he's out there, and they are going to get a lot of the Southern California kids now. So I think that will help them. And I think when the Pac-12 is good, I think it's good for college football. But yeah, I really see, and unfortunately for Ohio State, and I don't even want to jinx it really, but like, I think they're just going to run through the Big Ten. Like, I don't think it's going to be that close. They have Michigan at home this year. It's just, I don't see it happening. And then does anybody know if Alabama and Georgia play in the regular season next year?
I do not.
Let me just look for it real quick.
I can look back at it real quick.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like they play each other. They got Texas,
nope.
USF. Yeah. So basically what it's, and I'll get your thoughts here in a second. Like, we're going to be looking at the national title race of just like 3 lone ranger teams that are just going to dominate their schedules. I think, like, it would not surprise me whatsoever. And sorry, I'm taking too long. I'll pass to you guys. It would not surprise me whatsoever if by the time we get to the conference championship weekend, all those teams are still undefeated. Like, it wouldn't shock me at all. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on the S&P and obviously, and just like the big difference between the top 3 and basically the rest of the country this year? Matthew, I'll start with you, a little SEC.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know much about those S&P models and what those really mean. But I think any model is going to shoot those 3 teams at you. I think it's going to be that way for a while. And I'm honestly just going to wrap this up. I don't have anything to add. I think he summed it up perfectly. It's going to be those 3 teams. They could all very well be undefeated come the end of the regular season.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't even have anything to add to that. It's just going to be very likely 3 undefeated teams.
Yeah, I agree. And then I mean, we're looking way ahead, but then, I mean, who's the slaughter? Who's the lamb up for slaughter as the 4 seed there? Well, I guess they have to play in the SEC. Well, it's too far away, but what I know about the SP Plus is that, like, overall, it's supposed to be like the best. Like, they take everything into account, and obviously, there's not a lot to take into account right now. But there's a list on there if you guys. That's like it recruiting over the last 5 years and stuff. So it's all in there. But yeah, it just looks like it's going to be a pretty lopsided season. But I'm interested to see who the 4th, 5th, and 6th teams are that climb out of there. So I think that'll be interesting this year. And then before we get into our top players, we have to talk about the Bryan Harsin saga, because I'll pass it over to you, Matthew. I don't know what Auburn's going to do. Like, the coaching carousel is pretty much done. I don't think they have 2 coordinators, so they can't promote a coordinator to head coach if they fire him. And basically what I was reading today is like, it's not even the school is actually investigating him. It's not even like the athletic department. And Auburn just passed a new, one of their decrees or laws that today or recently that was like, if you're a coach, employee, student, player, whatever, you have to comply with internal investigations. And apparently Bryan Harsin isn't doing that. So I guess basically what they're trying to figure out is, do we want to let him continue to coach and possibly go into a downward spiral, or do we eat that $18 million and just basically start from scratch? Matthew, I'll start with you, because this whole thing, I don't know if we're going to see an end to it anytime soon. But because yesterday, I guess they came out of SEC meeting, and the rumor, everyone was like, Bryan, no one has any idea what's going to happen with Harsin. So I'll start with you, Matthew.
Yeah, I've got a buddy up at Auburn. He actually reports for the basketball team, but I was asking him about it because I don't know how Auburn fans feel about this. They're sick of it. They just want to get rid of him, it seems like. I've seen pictures of students holding up signs. They all just want him out. I don't know what the holdup here is, really. I understand maybe wanting to see through the end of this investigation. but I don't see a lot of reason for him not to be fired yet anyways.
That's kind of my
everyone's
point.
As confused as we are.
Yeah, and I'm not the kind of I'm not gonna go dig into it really. Like, you have a friend that's awesome. He writes for the basketball team. That sucks. They lost to Arkansas the other day. That was a sick game.
Yeah.
Except when they decided to let the students storm the court and have fireworks. Oh yeah, and they turned the lights off. The fact that they got out, the fact that happened and there was no like serious injuries is by the grace of God. I have no idea how that happened. But back to that, yeah. Like, what it seems like to me is like everyone hates him. Like, why don't they just fire him? And it may come down to like a legality, like where they might not have cause. But then again, if they like eat his buyout, then I don't know what's going on with that. Matt, anything from you about Bryan Harsin?
I don't have a ton to add. I don't think they feel they have a good enough replacement at this time with everyone kind of finding their home. So I feel like they're kind of more worried about what they would do next than what they have now. So
yeah, I have absolutely no idea what they're going to do. It seems to me like all indications are that he's going to be fired like at some point. And if I'm Auburn, and especially Matthew, with you saying that about the kids, like, just fire him. Just eat the $15 million. You're Auburn. It kind of sucks, but it's better than eating the $18 million after you go 4-7 this year. So yeah, they just need to get rid of him. And then if he was hooking up with his intern, good for him. Good for him. But let's move on to the meat of our podcast episode today. So I have a whiteboard next to me. I have all my top fives on there, and my two top 15s, the ACC and the Pac-12. Matthew, we know you didn't really get into it, so you just add whatever you can from the G5 conferences if you want. But we are going to go through all 5 G5 conferences and name the top 5 players that are top 5 players from each conference. And then after we get through each conference, we're going to break it down into a top 15. There could be some arguing, there could be some hatred, but it happens. So we'll get that down to a top 15. And then we'll definitely do either we'll start with the Pac-12. We'll start with that. And then if we can get to the ACC, we'll get to the ACC. But I feel like this is going to take a decent amount of time. So let's get started with this. Matt, I'm going to let you pick your conference and go with it.
All right. Well, then I'm going to start with my school's conference. Number 1 was pretty easy for me. I had the quarterback out of UTSA, Frank Harris, who returns. He had a fantastic year, runs and throws the ball well, doesn't turn it over. Very accurate thrower. I think he's definitely probably the best player returning to the Conference USA. Number 2 was from my school, the cornerback, Quincy Riley. He picked off 5 balls this year, was just kind of do it all. He had 6 pass deflections. I mean, he was all over the place for them. The edge rusher out of UTSA, Clarence Hicks, was number 3 for me. Had 10 sacks, 46 tackles last year. And then a couple of linebackers to round out the top 5. I had KD Davis out of North Texas. He had 166 tackles and 4.5 sacks. And finally, Abraham Beauplan. I don't know if that's how you say his name, but out of Marshall, he had 170 tackles, 2.5 sacks this year.
All right.
I want to say all 5 of them were first team All Conference USA too. So,
all right. I'm gonna need you to rename those at some point or text me because I was writing it down. I forgot it was kind of. What was Quincy?
Yeah, no,
what was his last name?
Quincy Riley.
Okay. Is he safety or corner or DB?
Corner out of Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, no, he's cool. Okay. I'll get the rest from it later. All right, here's mine. I guess you could tell me if these are wrong. Number 1 for me is Rasheen Ali, the running back from Marshall. He had, I think, 1,400 yards last year. Then Dwayne McBride, the running back from UAB. He had over 1,000 yards last year. I got your boy Jordan Ferguson, the defensive end. Is he still there?
I believe he is. Yes, actually.
Okay, I got him, and then I went running back heavy with this one because there was like 5, 6, or even 7 guys in the Conference USA that had over 1,000 yards last year. I went with Blake Watson, the running back from Old Dominion. So like I said, I don't really know a lot about it, but I kind of looked at stats, and it looked like the Conference USA had a bunch of like 6 or 7 guys come back, that it should be a pretty heavy rushing conference. This is your expertise, Matt, so I'll kind of let you take it wherever. I also messed up, and I thought JMU was joining the Conference USA instead of the Sun Belt. So I had one player from James Madison there. So, all right, so that's Conference USA. Frank Harris, there's a reason I didn't put him. I saw his name too. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't put him. Whatever. Okay. All right. Is Jordan Ferguson good?
He's a stud, actually. I'm pretty sure he's coming back, but he was a senior this year. But I think he came back with his extra. I think he's going to be a super senior next year. So
okay, cool.
So yeah, that's a good one.
All right. So, and like I said, well, obviously, once we get to the 15, Matt, I think you'll kind of take over a little bit, but I'm going to pick the next one, and that way we can go to the Matthew. Anything on Conference USA?
Not much to add. I have Rasheed Ali as well. 24 total touchdowns, which is crazy. Nearly 6 yards per carry on like 250 attempts. And this guy is not at the top of any of my lists, but I wanted to write him down because I thought he was still worth talking about. John Rice Plumlee, Ole Miss transferred to UCF. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with him. He's played quarterback. He's played wide receiver. I expect him to be a better Terry Wilson. That's kind of what I've noticed so far. Not everybody agrees with me. I understand I'm getting a little close to Lynn Bowden there. But those are really the only 2 guys I wanted to talk about from CUSA.
Okay. Off that, John Rice Plumlee, he was at Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the quarterback that they played with him at like the same time that ended up playing in that stupid XFL league? And he was like really good. You don't know? I'll look it up.
I'm going to find it. Yeah.
All right. Well, Matthew, you go ahead and find that for us. But I do remember he was in the XFL. Because I remember he was with Rice Plumlee, and you said that. I was like, wait, didn't he play in the XFL? But yeah, no.
Jordan Tamu.
Yes, that guy. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he was in the XFL. Okay, I didn't know Plumlee was still around. That's interesting. Okay,
he's been playing baseball. I don't know.
Do less and make more. I don't know. I would never want to live the life of a minor leaguer. That seems like it sucks. But all right, okay. So we're gonna head over to the Sun Belt, the Fun Belt, for my conference, and I'll go through mine. Pretty spread out. Back at number 1, I had to go with Grayson Mccall. I don't really need to explain much. He's been, like, I can't believe he's still there. Is really kind of what's the most amazing thing, because I feel like he's been like the freshman with a mullet for like 5 years now. But next then I had Carlton Marshall, I think his last name is. I don't know how to say it. He's a linebacker from Troy. I'm high on Troy a lot this year. They have another linebacker, Javon Simpson. They were both honorable mention All-Americans this past year, and they're both coming back. So that might be a good defense to watch, even though they don't really play defense in the Fun Belt. And then one of the actually guys I knew, because I always like to look at defensive backs, Daryl Reuter Jr., the corner from South Alabama. I think he had either 3 or 4 picks last year. He's got the size and everything like that for the NFL. So it'll just be interesting to see once he crosses over, because I don't feel like the small school guys that are corners, I don't feel like they really do well in the NFL. Right? Like right?
Yeah, some make a living in the slot, but it's rare that they do make a living.
Yeah, yeah, okay. All right. And then I got Nate Noel, the running back from Alabama State. He had like 1,900 rush yards last year. And then I have to we're a JMU family. So I included Chris Thornton, JMU's best returning receiver. I believe he had just under 1,000 yards last year. The bigger question for James Madison is who's going to play quarterback. In my opinion, because Cole Johnson was his 6-year senior last year, is gone, and they're playing a full FBS schedule this year. So It's gonna be interesting to see James Madison, in my opinion. All right, Matt, what about you?
I got to give you props because I also have the same first two. I have Grayson Mccall 1 and Carlton Marshall 2.
Okay.
Number 3, I have the edge rusher out of Coastal, Josiah Stewart. I had to get some Lafayette love on here, so I threw in Chauncey Manek. He had 10.5 sacks this year, edge rusher out of Lafayette. And I also had Javon Solomon on my list, number 5, out of Troy. So, yeah, I do definitely think their defense could be something to look out for next year. I also marked down just because I wanted to shout them, but you already did one of them. Both running backs on App State, App State, Nate Noel and their other running back, Cameron Peoples. Those guys were both absolute animals this year. So I had them as 6A and 6B. So
yeah, the funny thing is I had Javon Simpson at 5, and then I forgot. Like I said, I texted my brother. I was like, "Give me a James Madison name." Just I had to put it in there. But yeah, that should be interesting. You rarely see that. I feel like, but whatever. Matthew, anything to add from the Sun Belt?
You guys hit on the two that I had. I had Grayson Mccall and Javon Solomon. I missed out on that other linebacker, but still Solomon. I mean, he's got 11 sacks here, and I noticed he was 6'2", 245, which is like the exact same as Micah Parsons for what it's worth. So I guess that's what they're looking for in linebackers nowadays.
Yeah, so this is more of I'm sorry, I'm not going to get off topic for too long. So it seemed like for the longest time, guys, or in the past like decade, NFL teams wanted linebackers that could just cover. They could just cover. They could cover. They couldn't really tackle, or not really tackle. They could cover, but they were like Devin Lloyd, box to box, and they still are very like popular. People like to draft those guys. Do you think after Micah Parsons had this great of a year that people are going to look at linebackers more of as like not just a linebacker, but also someone who you might be able to, bump him down to the edge. You could also almost like, what, I'm being an idiot because we've already seen it happening with Isaiah Simmons and guys like that. I just think it's interesting that I'll be very open about it. I did not think Micah Parsons was going to be good in Dallas. I didn't. After the last year he had and then everything, I just didn't think he was going to be good. But I credit Dallas with the way they used him. I mean, they used him all over the field. So if you're that good, that's awesome. And the only thing I think Devin Lloyd and I know Nakobe Dean can be like that. I think Devin Lloyd can be kind of like that, but I think he's small. So I don't really like it. All right, Matt, I'll start with you again. Can we go to the American Conference? Let's just go to the American because everybody on Cincinnati's team just graduated. Everyone. Yeah. Like, I'm not kidding. I was searching for people that were like Cincinnati players, and I couldn't find them. So I think the American could be really competitive next year, and it's not because of Cincinnati. So I think that's going to be kind of interesting to watch. But, Matt, I'll start with you. American.
Yeah, so it's funny you said that because I do actually have a Cincinnati player ranked number 1. Deshaun Pace, the safety, he had 145 tackles, 4 picks, kind of does it all. That was my number 1, and then I have 2 quarterbacks, 2 and 3. Tanner Mordecai is my number 2, and Clayton Tune, number 3, out of Houston. Then Clayton Tune's favorite guy, Nathaniel Dell, is coming back as well, so I have him number 4, and then number 5, I have Keaton Mitchell, East Carolina running back. He had almost 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, 22 catches. He had a big year for them, so that's my 5.
All right, yeah, we actually have some. Yeah, okay, I like that one. I did not see Deshaun Pace, and I actually only have 1 quarterback, but still kind of close. All right, I have Tanner Mordecai as number 1. I have Dell at number 2. I have Keaton Mitchell at 3. I have Jaquan McMillan, corner from ECU, and then Jaron Mangham, our running back that I don't think played at UCF last year, but he transferred there, and he had like 15 rushing touchdowns last year, but he only had like 640 yards. So I don't know, but yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Happy to hear a shout out of McMillan, but I believe he did declare. That's why I kept him off my list. But if I'm wrong about that, then I definitely would have had him as well. But yeah, he's a stud.
And I will say, once again, I'm not hating on the group of 5, but it's so hard to find out. Like, I feel like these, like, the little schools, like, if someone declares, it's like state news. And, like, I would type these guys' names in and put, like, NFL, and I just couldn't figure out if they were drafting. Because none of the articles were like they declared or they're coming back. So, I don't know. Matthew, anything to add from the American?
Just an apology, really. I realized I brought up UCF a couple turns ago. You'll have to forgive me for getting USA and American confused. While we're on that, I guess we can talk for a second about Kobe Hudson, who I'm excited to see at UCF. There was a lot of drama about whether he transferred, got kicked out, but we all know the Auburn situation is just insane regardless. So I'm curious to see what this kid could do. I'm excited to see him back with Gus Malzahn. They had really great receivers up there a few years ago, and I think he's going to be really good at UCF.
So he is going to UCF?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I just looked him up and it said he was in Auburn, but so he left Auburn. Okay, cool. I think it's so. I don't know. I'll get to it later. Just speaking of the American in general, I think Luke Fickell deserved everything that he got this year. But I also think that if he wants to make the jump to one of the 3 elite colleges that we were talking about, or even the 4, 5, 6. This year is going to tell you if he can really coach or not, because there is not a ton coming back. I know their quarterback next year, actually, Evan something. He's very much like Ritter, except I think he's a little bit more athletic. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting season from Cincinnati. And I mean, if Luke Fickell does like a 11-1 or 12-0 again, someone's got to hire. Like, someone just has to put like the Brinks truck right in front of his house. In my opinion. All right. Matt, how about we go to the MAC? Let's go to the MAC. You want me to start? Or you want to start?
Yeah, I went last time. You can go.
All right. So, little interesting. I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't have any defensive players because they don't play defense in the MAC at all. So my number 1 returning guy, little hometown guy, Dante Cephas, 6'3" receiver from Kent. He had, I think, double-digit or maybe 9 touchdowns last year. He's really, really good. It's just going to be interesting to see who's going to get him the ball this year because Dustin Crum is gone. And then second, I have Caleb Ellaby, the quarterback from Western Michigan. He had a great year last year, and he's coming back for that. He's also going to be paired with Ladarius Jefferson in the backfield, who I think had over 1,000 yards last year as a freshman or a sophomore. So he should be really good this year. I have another Kent guy, Marquez Cooper. I think he averaged over 6 yards a carry and had over 1,000 yards. And then in fifth, someone you probably wouldn't have put on yours. I just put him on because of the name, because I know his brother is really good at OU. Curtis Rourke. At OU. His brother Nathan was there. He didn't have a great year this year, but all things I'm reading out of there is that basically, I don't know if you guys know what happened at OU last year. OU, Frank Solis had been their coach forever. Like, I'm not kidding, like 30 years. And then like right before the season last year, he got like health problems, so he had to retire. And they basically just threw like some random coach up there to do it. So I'm expecting a lot of Ohio this year because they're usually one of the MAC's best teams. All right, Matt. What do you got?
Yeah, I think you might have thought he went to the NFL because I'm a little shocked you didn't have him. I thought we'd be on the same page here. But number 1, I got Lou Nichols. He's coming back to Central Michigan.
I thought he was
2,000 scrimmage yards. Yeah. I'm shocked he's not because I'm pretty sure he was eligible. But yeah, he had over 2,000 scrimmage yards, 17 touchdowns. They use him in the pass game.
Once I finished my top 5, I knew I forgot him, and I went and looked him up, and I thought somewhere like it said he was drafted, but yeah, no, I missed that one. Yeah. You got it. Yep.
Yeah, and then I also have number 2. I have Dante Cephas out of Kent State.
Wow.
Number 3, I have Jamal Hines out of Toledo. I saw him in my school's bowl game. I believe he got ejected for a targeting actually, and they were not the same on defense after that. But he is an absolute stud. Did you have to say
I
something?
think he's going pro.
Oh, is he?
I think, but yeah, no, because I'm not sure, but for whatever reason, I didn't put him on mine, and I was looking at it, so I think he went pro, but he was on mine for sure.
Yeah, and then 4, I also had Caleb Ellaby because he's coming back. I thought he was going to go pro, but he didn't have quite as big of a year as I think some people thought he was going to. So I think he's going to come back. And,
isn't he smaller too? Yeah,
a little bit, yeah. And then his running back, Sean Tyler, I have is the number 5. He had over 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns. He had a pretty nice year too, so I had him in there.
All right. Interestingly enough, wait, hold on. I gotta check something. Matthew, anything to add?
Not here.
No, nothing. Okay,
great.
sorry. Did Northern Illinois win the MAC this year? Yeah, they did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, makes sense because there's no Northern Illinois players on my list, so whatever. All right, let's. I'm gonna let you take this one, Matt, because I feel like you know the Mountain West a little bit, so you can go ahead first.
All right, number 1, I had Jake Haener, the transfer then non-transfer. Jake Haener, quarterback at Fresno. Number 2, I had.
He's my number 1 as well. He's my number 1 as well.
Number 2, I have the safety out of Hawaii, Corey Bethley. He was an absolute jackrabbit. What?
I had him too. He's gone. He's at Arizona State. He's at Arizona State.
Oh, he left? Oh,
yeah, he transferred. No.
Good for him. Good for him getting out.
I was reading about everything about him because he was on my list too, and so he posted on Twitter or Instagram something that he's like, "All right, yeah, I'm coming back from my whatever senior year, or whatever." And then the next day, he entered the transfer portal, and then this all happened recently, so I don't blame you.
All right, well, I'm gonna have to adjust my Pac-12 after this, but
he's good.
All right, well, number 3, I have Jonah Tavai on San Diego State, interior D lineman. He had 7.5 sacks, 62 tackles. He had a big year. Then I got back-to-back Air Force guys. I got the running back, Brad Roberts. He was an absolute stud. And the linebacker, Vince Sanford, 72 tackles. He had 9.5 sacks, and he was an absolute beast too. So that is my 5. Well, 4.
I'm surprised you didn't get this guy. Maybe he is going pro, so I might be wrong here. Obviously, I have Jake Haener, number 1 again. Except number 2, I have Jalen Cropper, the wide receiver from Fresno.
Oh, yeah, I must have missed him.
Okay, because I didn't think he was going pro. I don't even know if he's that good, but I mean, he was Haener's favorite target, so I had him. Number 3, I did have Brad Roberts from Air Force. And just a quick kind of thing about it. So I was in the Army for like 3 years, and it is just so weird to me to see like the players of Navy and Air Force play football because in like 2 years, they're literally going to be flying fighter jets, and fighter jets are insane. And I know you guys don't really get it, but it's just crazy to me. I had him there, and then I had Pat Mcmorris, the safety from San Diego State. I think he had 4 picks last year. He's my 4th, and then I could be wrong on this one. I couldn't really figure it out. I know he got hurt in the bowl game. Logan Bonner, the quarterback from Utah State. So I know he exited the game, but I couldn't find anything of him going pro. But I know you love Utah State, so I just kind of saw his name and put him on there.
Yeah.
All right. Who you got? Oh yeah, you got your Mountain West. Okay. All right. Well, let's. I have. You guys can't see it, but basically, I split up my board. So I don't know if you can see it over here or over there. One of them. Let's do the top 15 overall at G5. I think we're probably. All right. I'm just gonna say mine, and we can go around and say each other's, and we'll get at it. Mine's Grayson Mccall.
I'd have to agree. Number 1.
Okay, cool. Let me write that down. All right, then you can go up with your number 2 then.
Number 2. it's hard not to get one of the quarterbacks in there again, but I got to go Lou Nichols. He's just so damn good.
Matthew, any rebuttal from that?
No, I like Grayson Mccall a lot. He's a good number 1, and I'm sure Matt will pick the best number 2 out there.
He just did. He picked Lou Nichols. Okay. All right. So third, let me look through this. I think we have to go with Hainer at 3.
Yeah, I'd say him or Mordecai probably.
I'm going to go with Hainer as long as we agree. Can we go Hainer, Mordecai 3-4?
Let's go.
Yeah, I like Hainer over Mordecai.
I think Mordecai is in a very quarterback friendly system, which is SMU, but whatever. But
Come back to me when he breaks his hip.
Okay. All right, Matthew, I would tell you that I'm usually the person who's okay with injuries on this podcast, but if you want to take that over, that's fine. Like, God can hate you for a year. That's fine. All right, Matt, I'll let you chime in with the 4th.
All right, number 5 or number 4? Wait,
5.
3, 4. Yeah. Okay.
No, it's 5. We got 3 and 4. Hainer,
Yeah,
Mordecai.
we just did 3, 4. Number 5. It might be a little high, but I kind of want to go with the linebacker from Troy, Carlton Marshall.
I was just gonna say that too.
Yeah.
I like Marshall. You cool with that, Matthew? Like I said, well, you know what? Yeah. Well, when we get to the Pac-12, Matthew will have much more to say.
I will.
So yeah. Carlton Marshall. All right, 6. So we finally got a defensive player on there.
Honestly, I don't know what you think. I think 6, 7 could honestly be Toon and Dell. I know you didn't even have Toon on there, but he was pretty unreal this year. I think they both helped each other equally.
Houston quarterback, right?
Yeah.
And Holgerson's still there, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. That was just a wondering thing. I mean, I know Houston, so I mean that's cool. All right, Toon, then Dell. All right, we put up. All right. I'm gonna go another receiver. I think this is where we get our first Matt guy, in my opinion, unless you have something different. I would put Cephas here.
That's good with me. I got like 3 guys I'm looking at for the next spots. I was Cephas,
right.
Frank Harris, and Quincy Riley. Or my 3 that I'm looking at next.
I think we should definitely do the UTSA quarterback next because
that's what I'm talking about, Frank Harris.
Yeah, because they were insane last year, and I don't know how I missed this guy's name, but whatever. Frank Harris. And then who'd you say next?
I said Quincy Riley. I know you didn't have him on yours, but it's up to you.
Is that your guy?
Put him on there.
Is that your guy?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put him on there. Of course. Hey, we obviously like to make our list, but we got to throw some love to our favorite guys. Come on, we're not robots.
Yeah.
Quincy, what's his last name? Riley.
Yeah.
How's Middle Tennessee going to be next year?
That quarterback looked fucking good in the bowl games.
Well, I still don't know which one's the quarterback.
Hey, the one guy just runs. He couldn't throw the ball to a freaking screen pass. So,
Matt, did you watch that game? Oh, the Middle Tennessee. You didn't watch the bowl game? Whatever. You suck.
I think you're muted.
Yeah, you are muted.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't get to see it. No.
Oh, you're good. Sorry. No, I didn't. You must not have known you were muted because I was like, "Hey, you gonna say something?" All right. So Quincy Riley. That's another defense. How many defensive players do we have on here? We have one. We have 2 defensive players.
What number are we at right now?
11. Riley was 10. Harris was 9. 8 was Cephas.
Okay.
No one really sticks out to me. Preferably, I think I like towards the end here, I would like to hit maybe 2 of the running backs, maybe if it's 14 or 15 or anything. But there's so many good running backs that. So what were you going to say? What were you going to say?
I like the edge on Coastal. Josiah Stewart, 13 sacks this year.
Okay, I don't know. Once again, I don't know how to miss that. All right, let's try and get.
Yeah, I'm good with going another running back. Probably Keaton Mitchell. Or actually probably Brad Roberts before him.
Yeah, I was say just if you look at like positional value and program value, I mean, he's the whole team.
Yeah.
Not the whole team, you know what I mean. Brad Roberts. All right, I think we should get another defensive player in here before we're done. I like that guy. Oh, I know who I'll go defensive then. I like Darrell Reuter a lot. I like Darrell Reuter Jr. a lot. I actually think he's going to be pretty good in the NFL. You're on mute.
Oh, there we go. Sorry. I missed
Darrell Reuter.
Yeah, that's good with me.
The corner. You guys got he's pretty, right? Yeah, he's pretty good. And then we can finish it. I'll let you finish the last 2.
Did we already get Keaton Mitchell on there or no?
No, not yet.
I'm good with Keaton Mitchell next, and then
let's cheat a little bit and let's do the tandem, whatever that was from App State. Let's do the tandem from App State.
Let's do Nate Noel and Cameron Peoples.
All right. And who do we have 13? Right before Mitchell? Oh, yeah, I got it. It's Luter.
Yeah.
Darrell Reuter. Okay. So then my plan, so obviously we have our top 5, and but that'll be mixed in, obviously, once we get down to our top 50 overall. But my plan with all of these lists, except our top 50 and like our 15 and then the 35 from the Power 5, I want to revisit it like a week before the season and see if we make any changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have everything here. I'll take pictures of everything on the board, but I would like to look at that down the line. All right, Matthew, you have talked the least, so it's your choice. Would you like to do the ACC or the Pac-12?
I've got both of them here. Let's start with the Pac-12 since they're the farthest out there.
All right. I think the best way to do this is we'll go 5 at a time. How about that? 5 at a time around the room. Okay. Matthew, go ahead and start.
Yeah. Just as a preface, this order is just as much kind of the order I thought of them in as the order that I ranked them. So it's not perfect, but these are my top 15-ish guys, regardless. Jeez. All right. Well, number 1, I have Cam Rising, the quarterback out of Utah. I'm really excited to see what happens there, and I also hate to break this news to you guys. I have a lot of Utah players on this list. I was going through, I was looking at PFF stats and things like that, and it seems like Utah is leading all of them. So I put him out front. It's a little bit risky, but that's number 1. I'll get moving here. Number 2, Edifuano Lufuscio. I hope I got that right. Linebacker out of Washington. Number 3, I have Tavion Thomas, running back out of Utah. Number 4 is where I have Caleb Williams. We'll just kind of wait and see on him. Quarterback out of USC, obviously. And number 5, I have Clark Phillips III, the corner out of Utah, who allowed, I wrote it down really small here, 0.34 yards per snap in coverage.
He's really good. And I believe when he signed with Utah, he was committed to Ohio State and then at the last second switched to Utah, I believe. He's very good. He's very good. There's only one player. Well, there's one player that I think you're really missing, and you might get into it later, but I think there's one player in the top 5 you're missing.
I think I have the same one.
Okay. Matt, go ahead.
All right. My number one player is Noah Sewell on Oregon. Number 2, I had Cam Rising. Number 3, I had Caleb Williams. The difference maker there, I just think Utah is probably going to win the conference. So I gave Cam Rising the edge. Number 4, I have Mike Tafua. And number 5, I have Zach Charbonnet on UCLA, the running back.
Big year for UCLA. Also, just as a heads up, I'm reaching out to people for interviews, just so you guys know. There's a UCLA player from last year. He's from around here. I know his family. He played at UCLA. He just transferred back to Kent. Hopefully, we're going to get him on. And then if you guys just maybe think of some or know people, just send out invitations, because I'd love to have some guests on this during the offseason. It makes it more fun. But all right. Yeah, Matthew, I'd say you missed Noah Sewell.
I've got him number 6 for what it's worth.
Yeah, okay. I think Noah Sewell is probably going to be one of the top 3 linebackers in the country next year. I'll read my top 5. We're going to get into it because how is Caleb Williams not number 1?
Because Noah Sewell's number 1.
Okay, whatever. I have the same top 3 as you, Matt. A little different order. Caleb Williams 1, Noah Sewell 2, Cameron Rising 3, Tavion Thomas 4, and then Travis Dye at USC now 5.
I totally missed on Travis Dye. He's not even in my top 15. He should have been. Just didn't even think of him.
Oh, good. All right, Matt, it is background to you. Give us 6 through 10.
All right, so number 6, I spoiled it already. It's Noah Sewell. I'm really excited to see what Dan Lanning does with him. That being said, I'll just keep moving here. Number 7, I've got Brant. Bear with me on this. Quaith, something like that. He's a tight end for Utah. I was reading some incredible stuff about him earlier today. How do you say it?
I have no idea, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about as well. I just don't know how.
Number 8 is where I've got Junior Tafunia, the defensive tackle out of Utah. He was the defensive freshman the defensive freshman of the year last year. So that's where I've got him. Number 9 is where I have Brayden Daniels, quarterback for Arizona State. And number 10 is where I get Zach Charbonnet, the running back now for UCLA, after a little bit of drama between going to the draft, transferring, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. I like that. Matt, how about you?
All right. We're going to get into some transfers. 4 out of these 5 are going to be transfers. So number 6, I got Mario Williams, USC, transferred from Oklahoma.
Totally missed him.
Number 7, I just slid him up here. Arizona State safety, Corey Bethley. Did not know he transferred, but I had to get him in here. Number 8, I got Tavion Thomas, the running back, Utah. Number 9, another running back, Travis Dye, USC. And number 10, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his last name, but maybe Matt can help me because it's a former Florida guy. I got Muhammad Diabati. I don't know how to say it, but transferred over to Utah. So that's 6 through 10.
Okay. So question to both of you, especially you, Matt. Offensive line just doesn't matter.
Offensive line sucks in the Pac-12, so.
I mean, Oregon's been the best offensive tackle producing country. Or not country.
That's Mario Cristobal, though. That's not Oregon. That's
speaking of, make sure when you guys remind me to bring him up at the end, because Miami might be good next year, I think. Well, I include offensive linemen, but all right. 6, I have Brayden Daniels, offensive lineman from Utah. I believe he was on the interior this past year. They're talking about moving him out to tackle this year. That happens at schools that aren't Ohio State, Bama, and Georgia. So, once again, I include offensive linemen. I love offensive linemen, so that's fine. 7, I also have another offensive lineman, TJ Bass, lineman from Oregon. He had a really good season last year, and Oregon produces. 8, I do have Brayden Daniels, even though like every other week, it's just like Arizona State may not have a program or they may have a program. I just have no idea. They go back and forth between so many things of like Herm Edwards is leaving like every other third day. And then I have at 9, your boy Edifin, however you said it, linebacker from Washington. And then 10, I also had Junior Tafuna, defensive tackle from Utah. They are saying he's the next Utah defensive tackle, so he's pretty good. All right. Matthew, round out your top 15. If you have any honorable mentions, I have 3 spots for honorable mentions. I only have 1 honorable mention, but if either of you guys do, throw them out there.
All right. So number 10, I actually, believe it or not, have an offensive lineman. I've got Andrew Voorhees, who's probably spent about 9 years at USC at this point, it seems like. So I've got him at 11. Number 12, I've got Mario Williams. Cautiously. I don't love picking transfers just because it doesn't feel that fun. I'm ranking the Pac-12 guys. I'm talking about a guy I've seen in Oklahoma. Another guy I haven't seen much of yet. I have Corey Foreman at number 13. I'm still excited to see what he was going to do. He was the number 1 recruit. I want to say it was like 2 years ago now. I really haven't seen him. Last year? Okay.
2 years. Not that, yeah. So he was a freshman this past year. Him and Jack Sawyer, the guy from Ohio State, were one, Foreman was 1. But no, I'm expecting big things from him.
So I've got him there. And then this is the second tight end from Utah on my list. I've got Dalton Kinkade. The only reason the list is big enough for the both of them is because they play so differently. And then rounding it out, I have Brayden Dorlis, the defensive tackle for Oregon.
Okay. I like that. Interesting. I think we might have some differing end at the end. So it'll make a good conversation for when we get down to our 15. Matthew. Matt, not Matthew.
Yeah, I knew you meant. Number 11, I have the D tackle out of Utah, Junior Tafuna. 12, I have Brayden Daniels. 13, I have the linebacker Washington, Edifwan Ulofoshio. I hope I got that right. 14, I have Mitchell Agud. I don't know if you pronounced that right, but edge rusher out of UCLA. And then number 15, another transfer. Not sure if anyone else knows about him, but from Wyoming, running back Xavier Valade. He transferred over from Wyoming, and he's been a monster 2 years in a row. So I think he's going to be huge for their offense since they just lost Rashad White.
Where did he transfer to?
Arizona State.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's probably a felon.
Possibly.
I mean, like I said, Arizona State, like I swear to God, they don't have a program like every other 3 days. He might be worse than Urban Meyer with criminals. All right. 11 through 15 for me. I have Ladarius Henderson, offensive lineman, for Arizona State. He played I think he played the tackle last year. They'll move him around. I think that's what I was reading. I think I have Clark Phillips a little too low now that I listen to you guys. I have him at 12, but he should be really good. Kind of surprising that none of you guys had him, but I could also be very wrong, and he could also be in the pros next year. CJ Verdell, the running back from Oregon.
To be honest, I wasn't sure if he's – I don't know. That's why. I've looked it up a number of times, and I can never find if he's declared or not, or if he's returning or not. So, yeah, he'd probably be on my list, but –
Yeah, no, I got you. I have 14. I do have Zach Charbonnet. If it's ever going to happen for Chip Kelly and UCLA, it's got to happen this year. And then 15, I had a different safety, but I'm also going to go with Corey, the transfer from Hawaii. He is athletic specimen that I just like, big safety, so I like him. And then the only honorable mention I have Dorian Thompson-Robinson from UCLA, the quarterback, just because I think it's a lot on him. Like, I think it's like I said, if it's going to happen for UCLA, it's got to happen this year, and it's basically got to be on the back of Charbonnet and DTR. So
I also have an honorable mention. Jerry Rice's son, Brendan Rice, transferring over from Colorado to USC. I think he could end up having a big year. So,
is it Brennan or Brendan?
Brendan, with a D.
Okay, I got him. Does he look like Jerry Rice? A little bit.
I have no idea.
Not too much. All right, cool. So obviously now it's time to whittle it down to 15. Hold on. I would start out with Caleb Williams, but do we all agree it's a quarterback?
2-1 had Rising, so I say we just do
So,
Rising Williams and call it 1-2.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
And then I go Rising Williams, then I go Sewell.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
Matthew?
I mean, that's fine if you guys want to do it. That's where I have the other linebackers, so we can flip them.
All right, so Rising Williams and 3 Sewell. All right, Matt, who you got? Matthew, who you got 4?
Let's push for Tavion Thomas at 4, if you guys like.
I
it.
agree. He's my 4th. Matt, I think he was like 5th or 6th on yours.
Yeah, he was up there. I think he's 7 for me. So I had him and Charbonnet pretty close. So I'm fine with Tavion Thomas first.
I think we have to put Tavion Thomas first because I didn't have Charbonnet to 14.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you both had him higher, so that's fine.
Tavion Thomas, and then all right, we got 1 defensive player, so that's fine. 5. I kind of like Clark
kind of a
Phillips.
drop.
You guys had him. Yeah, it really is. I kind of like Clark Phillips. I don't know where you guys had him, but I have him way too low. I also wouldn't be against Brayden Daniels at 5 just because he's their entire offense. Matt, thoughts?
I could go either way. I had Clark Phillips at 5, so I'm good with whatever y'all feel.
I missed Clark Phillips on my rankings, so
then we can't put him there. We can't put him at 5. So
I'm totally fine with putting him in here because I just forgot
that's
about him. It's not like I'm not high on him.
All right, let's go Clark Phillips.
I like Tafua as well on Utah, the edge rusher.
Tafuna?
No, Tafua. They have Tafua and Tafuna. So Mika Tafua. He had 9.5 sacks.
I missed Tafua, but for 6, I think we should go with the linebacker from Washington because he was pretty high for mine. And then Matt, you had him he was in your top 5. Correct?
I had him 11.
I had him at number 2. I'm way up on him, but I like those PFF stats more than most people.
I'm not going to yell at you today for that. We can talk about that. We can talk about this at another time. We do need to figure out how to say these guys' names.
I can give it a shot again. Edifwan Ulafushio. That's where I'm landing. If it's wrong, it's wrong, but I'll keep saying it that way.
I think you're right. It's look how it's spelled. So great. I don't know if you
Brayden Daniels, if you guys want to
7 Brayden Daniels.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right.
So
Matthew, I don't know. I don't know if you noticed or not, but you're now our pronunciation guy. So good luck with that.
I mean, listen, South Florida, it's probably a little more diverse than in Ohio or Tennessee, I imagine. Or, I'm sorry, Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't know what the diversity is like in Illinois. I'm not going to speak on that.
What are you talking about? We're all different up here in Ohio. All right, 8. We're at the point where it's a crapshoot for me because I think we have to go with Charbonnet at 8.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up.
Because I have the 14, but you got. Go ahead.
Going forward, we could all just pick one in order and.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah. So we had Charbonnet. All right, Matt, you go ahead.
I'll go Mario Williams.
Okay. That's a high risk, high reward. And you know what? This is all actually fine because if we are going to look at it later, it's good. So yeah, I like Mario Williams. You know who I think is going to be really good though, Matthew, and this will help. This is awesome for you. Well, not awesome for you, but you like Arkansas. Hazelwood. I think Hazelwood's going to be a beast. He was the number one receiver when he came out, and I don't know why he hasn't really taken off at Oklahoma, but I liked Hazelwood a ton coming out. All right, 10. You know what? You guys can. Who's your highest rated offensive lineman each?
The Utah guy that was interior. I can't remember his name.
Offensive lineman.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I don't know.
I forget his name. I didn't have him on mine because I didn't do offensive line.
Great. But we cool with Brayden Daniels then at 10, and then we're done with offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So Brayden Daniels. I think we're going to have a ton of fun looking back at this. I know I'm going to change all of mine, just all of them by the time we get there. 11, Matthew.
So do we have that interior D lineman then from Utah?
No, I'm fine with Tafuna. Okay, I had him at 11. I have him at 11 or 10. So Matt.
Yeah, I still think we need to get Tafua on there too. The 9.5. He had 9.5 sacks this year.
What's his first name?
Mika Tafua. Mika. Micah.
Well, Matt, unfortunately for you, he is declared for the NFL draft.
Has he really?
Just reading this.
Oh.
Micah Tafua is the latest declared for the NFL draft, December 20th, 2021.
All right.
So this, I'll put his name in like quotation marks because we don't know. Oh yeah, no, he's gone. He's gone. He played in the Shrine Bowl.
Okay.
So well, I'm fine with I'm fine with Tafuna then.
Yeah.
Because I had him at 10. All right.
Did we get Travis Dye in there yet?
No, we have not. We have a lot of running. Well, not a ton, but I'm fine with Dye here.
Yeah, that's good with me.
And then all right. Well, I'm gonna take pick 15 right now, and I'm just gonna say we put the safety from Hawaii there, Corey.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm desperate to get him on the 15. So
yeah, we're gonna get him up there. 15, Matthew, 13. We just had Travis Dye. We got 2, 13 and 14. You each get 1. There's a lot to.
I got Corey Foreman at 13. If you guys want him on the list,
I like that.
I don't want the year to go.
That
by
is a name I forgot.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I was looking at like the top players next year, and for whatever reason, the article was about Foreman and Jack Sawyer from Ohio State, but for whatever reason, I only looked at Jack Sawyer. I am excited to see Corey Foreman. I think he's like 6'6".
I am too, yeah.
Yeah, he needs to do something for them.
I completely just blanked on him.
I mean, they didn't have the greatest coaching staff last year, let's be honest.
Yeah.
All right, 14. Matt, it's all yours.
I'm going to go ahead and get the Florida transfer, Muhammad Diabate.
Is he good, Matthew?
He good.
Okay. All right.
He's one of those safeties you get scared of watching him come down on guys. You could just see like spine starts happening and stuff.
The weirdest thing that I've known, and Matt, you might have seen this too. In recruiting, all the safeties are like 6'2" and above now. Like you're not a high rated safety unless you're like big. So it's crazy to me. I mean, I know the guy that Ohio State just signed, Sonny Styles. He's like 6'4". Like that's crazy, but it's interesting. So we're about an hour and 15 in. Let's talk about the Super Bowl a little bit. We'll get to the ACC and we'll finish up the other 4 conferences next week.
Yeah,
sounds
cool
good.
with me. Cool with you guys. All right. Let me go back to the outline real quick. So it is the Super Bowl. I don't know how much if you guys bet. What are your thoughts on the Super Bowl? Like, first thought, who do you think is going to win and why? Matthew, go ahead.
I think it's going to be the Rams. Listen, I'd love to see the Bengals win one. I'd love to see Joe Burrow win it. But the Rams are just crazy good. I don't see them losing this game. And the Rams were still my pick in the beginning of the playoffs for what it's worth. So I'll stick with them even over the Bengals, even though I like them.
Okay. Hey, you're the only the only person I know that thought that picked the Rams from the outset. So,
well, I think last time, Matt, were you saying you had the Rams in a parlay, like in the beginning?
I have them in a parlay from the beginning of the year, yeah. But I betrayed my pick going into the playoffs, so I did not like.
I remember you saying that. I remember you saying that.
I still got the parlay alive. So.
Oh, I will say this: if you are betting on props in the Super Bowl, like if you bet on a couple of them, just make sure that they aren't all like on the same outcome. Like Joe Burrow has over 24 and a half completions and the Bengals win, because I think it was 2 years ago. I ended up thinking I got everything right, but then it was the other team that won. So I got nothing. So anyone who's doing props out there, just make sure that you throw some neutral props in there. I respect you for staying with the Rams. Matt, what are your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think the Bengals O-line is just not going to be able to handle the pass rush from the Rams. So I do like the Rams, but Joe Burrow is just too damn good to not keep it close. I think it'll be probably a Bengals cover, but I definitely think Rams are going to win the game.
All right, so I'm older and obviously a bit more of a gambler than you guys. So the whole week I was set on betting the Cincinnati money line. I've changed. I'm taking the spread. It's just more value, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be pretty heartbroken if the Bengals don't win, which makes no sense because we should hate them. They're a division rival, but the Browns are so bad that I just don't care. And Joe Burrow is so awesome to cheer for. And then just going into it, I'm thinking like this. I'm like, the Rams, like at basically every single position other than quarterback, are better than the Bengals. But Joe Burrow is the quarterback. So I'm going to take the Bengals. I think they're going to win a tight game. And you know what? I really do. I think Ferguson wins it for him. So I just you guys may not agree. I just really want the Bengals to win. I want to see Joe Burrow win. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm in the same spot. I don't have the same pick, but I am in the same spot.
Believe me.
Not the cheer for Burrow.
Believe me, everything in my mind is telling me there's no way the Rams win this game. And I will say I've turned a little bit on the bad offensive line of the Bengals versus the defensive line, because we've seen, like, and this is Tom Brady and Joe Burrow is not Tom Brady. But if you know they're just going to attack you, like they're going to come with 8 guys out of the box and blitz you, you just got to get the ball out fast. Easier said than done, but I think more than anything, I'm just rooting for a good game. Like last year's game wasn't that good, in my opinion. So I just want a good game. It's been an insane playoffs. It's been an insane season. So I hope they top it off with a great game on Sunday. But who knows? But all right. Props. What did I say? The props I'm on. I do have Joe Burrow first touchdown, rushing touchdown, and I do have him over 24.5 completions. I wanted over 35 attempts, but didn't go with it. All right. So next week, I'll have to talk to you guys. I start a new job next week, so this time is actually probably perfect for next week. But I'll talk to you guys about it after the show. So next week we'll start with the ACC, then we'll hit the Big 12, then we'll do the Big 10, and then we'll do the SEC. And that should probably take up most of our time. And then I think in 2 weeks we sit down and we do the top 50 with mixing in our 15 and our 35. And if that sounds good to you guys, I think that's the plan we're going to go with.
Yeah.
Anything else, fellas? Stay safe this weekend. I think we've said it. I think that I've said it, and probably you guys have said it too the past couple of podcasts. Don't be an idiot. Don't be out drinking and driving. Cops are going to be looking for you on Super Bowl Sunday. Way too many dumbasses doing that shit. Hope you guys enjoy watching the game. Hope you guys have a great weekend. You know what, Matt? Give us some Notre Dame players you're excited for returning next year, other than Brandon Joseph.
Other than Brandon Joseph, I was going to start with him, but I'm most excited for the 5-star linebacker they got. I think he's going to play right away. Snead, I think he's going to be an absolute stud. And one guy that nobody seems to know much about, but he had an absolutely monster year. I'm surprised he didn't go to the draft. Was Isaiah Foxy. I don't know how to pronounce it, but he had like 10.5 sacks this year. He was an absolute stud, and he came back. So I think they kind of got guys at every level. I'm pretty excited about their defense.
Good. Another independent guy I would like to point out. I think his name is Matt. You should know him. Andre Carter. I believe he's an edge rusher for Army, and he's actually like one of the best edge rushers returning. So I got to give a shout out to him. You don't really see many Army guys or Navy guys, but when I was looking at the PFF, I was looking at the top 10 returners for each position, and he was 4th at edge rusher. So I think it's Andre Carter the second or something. So got to give a shout out to him. But fellas, great show. Like I said, I think it's gonna be fun to look back at this, and I know I'll just probably change my entire top 15, but whatever. As always, Matt will get this up for us whenever. You can find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Have a good weekend, guys. Don't be idiots. Any last words?
Yeah, everyone stay safe. Enjoy the Super Bowl.
Scared money don't make money. Go Gators and go money McPherson.